Okay, everyone, my first real vlog, I guess. Yeah, it's about being Asian, and yes, I get profiled. I have been my whole entire life. And no, this is not an anti-police or a political thing at all. Let me just tell you my experience. What's up, everyone? So, yes, my first real vlog about a serious subject, and it's racism. And I know everyone's talking about it right now, but my take on it, it's a little bit different. We hear all the stuff going on in the Asian community right now. I'm an Asian dude. I'm a mixed Asian dude. So my mother's Vietnamese, my father's Irish, Caucasian, and I've come to a realization that not the realization, but I guess I've come to own that it's messed up if it happens to me too. And unfortunately, it has happened my entire life. I've been profiled. Actually, it happened very recently, to me. And I actually was going to post about it, but I decided not to for some reason. I think because maybe that conditioning I've had where it's like, oh, it's not that big a deal, or at least it's not as bad as some of these other folks have it, or, oh, they thought I was Mexican, or they thought I was something else they really hated. Like, oh, if they would have known I was Asian, then it would have been okay with me. And for some effed up reason, that was okay. That made a ton of sense, even though it doesn't make sense at all. And so today, as I see like a 71-year-old grandmother in San Francisco, several weeks ago, just getting brutalized, she got to fight back. When I see that happening, I see the gentleman in Manhattan, Asian man, he's picking up cans, early in the morning to support his family because he lost his job from COVID, migrated here 2 years ago, was working, everything you want, as far as a person realizing the American dream gets attacked, blindsided, and someone stomps on his head. He's still in a coma right now. He may die. And he's just trying to support his family. And so, yeah, I started thinking, I want to tell people about this thing that happened to me over the holidays. And the whole thing is that there's a trooper. I was driving through Kansas, and this trooper was on the side of the road, and there's like 5, 6, 7 cars behind me, maybe an eighth of a mile behind me. And as soon as he sees me, pulls out. I'm not speeding. I'm in the right-hand lane. He has to wait until the cars that are behind me pass. He pulls out, passing lane, zooms up to me, stays right there, matches my speed in my blind spot, just right there next to my vehicle. So this is me. He's like right behind me. And I'm just like, what in the heck is this guy doing? And he doesn't get behind me. He's not doing anything. He's just right there in my blind spot. So I can't get in that left lane. There's nobody in front of me except for the semi way down the road. And so we drive several miles, and I'm catching up to the semi, and I'm slowing down. And as I get closer and closer, I'm like 10 miles below the speed limit, and I'm closing on the semi. I can't get to the left. I feel like, well, crap, I don't want to go like 15 under the speed limit, right? So as I get closer and closer, all of a sudden, blue lights pop up, comes behind me, and pulls me over. And the first thing he says is, "Sir, I'm pulling you over for following too closely." First thing I say is, "What do you mean too closely? Like when?" And I think right then he realized, okay, this is not what I thought. And he says, "That semi right there when I put my blue lights on." And he goes, "But don't worry, I'm only going to give you a warning." And that wasn't good enough for me because I'm like, I didn't follow too closely. You're actually blocking me in. You actually keyed in on me the moment you left that median. And so I wanted to talk about that. And I wasn't being belligerent, but I said, "Officer," or I think I said trooper actually. I said, "Trooper," I said, "well, here's what happened." And I told him how he pulled out and he sped up and he stayed in that lane. I said, "I wanted to be courteous. I didn't want to cut you off and get in that lane. I slowed down. You matched my speed when I slowed down, even though you're in the passing lane. So clearly you're keyed in on me." Long before I got, near that truck, and his posture, everything, he was already kind of in a dominant position. He's past your window. He's got his hands on my vehicle, and he kind of says, "Sir, I already told you I was going to give you a warning." And it's like, right then, I'd done this enough to know he's telling me, you will not challenge and question me. If you take this any further, it could be some issues. You're making me be aggressive here. You're going to make me take control of the situation. So, of course, don't want that in the middle of Kansas. So he proceeds with his traffic stop. The only thing he's concerned about is if I own the vehicle and what am I doing? What am I doing? Where am I going? And so, of course, that's totally within following too close if you own this vehicle. Not, hey, license, registration, do you have anything dangerous in the cars or anybody else? Like, none of those questions. And of course, he sticks his head in the van. I do have a passenger seat, and his head's right here in front of this person, and takes a huge whiff from inside the van. Now, I could argue the fact that he stuck his head in my van was an unreasonable search. I would argue that. And just back to my disclaimer, I'm not saying that cops are bad. They shouldn't be doing certain things. I do believe that there is a systemic way that policing is done, that if I would have pushed back on that person, that yes, that would have been probable cause for like canines and all this stuff to come. It's happened in the past. It has happened. It still happens to this day. If you look at the people that are stopped in neighborhoods or on sidewalks because they're reported as being suspicious, them invoking their rights usually is probable cause and resistance to an investigation per the police officer, which then results in escalation of things. So I let him do his thing. I let him violate my rights, profile me, and there was nothing I was going to do to get out of that. I actually had part of the clip. Actually, I'll play it right now.
Stuff. The only thing you wanted to know is, do you own this vehicle, and what are you doing? So, yeah, F Kansas. There is nothing I was going to be able to do to prevent me from being profiled and pulled over and having this guy look at me. Thank God I speak perfect English. I'm a combat veteran. But other than that, looks like driving tan and tattooed in Kansas is probable cause to get pulled over. So F Kansas.
And so, yeah, so looking at that, like, I was pretty hot. There's nothing I was going to do to get out of that. And so what am I saying? I'm not saying that police should be defunded. I'm not necessarily saying that all police are bad. I'm not saying this is a political thing. What I'm saying is that we have to take away the idea that if this doesn't happen to me, if I don't see it or experience it myself, that it's not a thing. It is a thing. It is a total effing thing. We have to take away the removing humanity from situations like this. Well, yeah, I know that they went to that person's house and it looks like they may have, done it unprovoked, like it was a wrong house, the search warrant was wrong, but they found drugs in there. So, and it's like, okay, wait a second, we got to stop that. Like, that's still a person, it's still their rights. Their rights are there for a reason. They have jobs, like relationships, like with their church, their whatever, friends and family. I mean, how many people here, I'm a healthcare executive in real life, I'm a military veteran, all this stuff. Like, how many people, would you say that, yeah, you have a little bit of weed in your house or something? That doesn't make you an effing criminal. That only is coming out to try to take attention away from, like, illegally searching somebody's stuff. What that really is, it's somebody trying to skirt accountability. It's somebody trying to make what they did not look like such a big deal, because look, it looks like we did get a criminal off the street. They had like a dime bag of weed in their house. It's like, no, what you did is violate somebody's rights, and somebody who was, responsibly using marijuana. Maybe they weren't, I don't know, maybe they're having these huge benders, I don't know. But either way, like, that doesn't justify what you did. And so what I'm asking for is accountability. I'm asking for accountability. If you're a police officer and you see someone, your colleague, doing this kind of policing, like, to me, you're good with me if you have emotional intelligence, self-actualization. You're like, hey, dude, like, if that was my mom, if that were my sister, my brother, my dad, I would not want you pulling him over like that. That wouldn't be just cause to pull over my dad. So, and I would not be okay with you being assertive and aggressive trying to control the situation, because there's nothing to control. You cause a situation. We should praise those people. And the ones that aren't willing to do that or act like there's still some kind of justification for what they do, make them accountable for it. Make them feel it. So in this case, like, my trooper was an officer C. Rule, number 468 of the Kansas Highway Patrol. To me, and I'll put it here on the camera, C. Rule, number 468. So, and this traffic stop happened on the 22nd of December, 2020, Kansas. So if he's watching this and wants to forward it to him, I think you're a piece of crap. And you're one of the cops that give other cops a bad name. And you knew good and damn well that when you saw me passing that median, the only thing you saw was a guy who was brown driving a really big van. And you thought there's either drugs, I stole it, something. That's the only thing you're concerned about. Yeah, you had this crap about falling too close, but we both know that before I even got to that truck, and if you have dash cam footage from that date, I would love for you to submit it. Like, email it to me. I'll do a whole video. We could do a Twitch stream. I'll record it. Whatever you want to do to put your version out there, but bring your dash cam video. Show everyone what you did and then try to justify it. And if right now you're watching this, or somebody knows you and you're willing to take accountability, let's do that too. And let's be accountable and apologize, like just something. Hey, I realized that crap is wrong. I was trained to do that, and a lot of my colleagues do that, but yeah, man, like, I'm realizing that crap is what's making us have a bad name sometimes. Like, that crap right there, while I try to justify it when I do happen to catch somebody who's bad, doing something bad, like, now I'm thinking about it, I had to go through 9 upstanding citizens to get to the one bad guy. No, it's not worth it. It's not worth violating people's rights and justifying it with the one person you happen to catch. Maybe you wouldn't have caught him. Maybe it took you 20 people, 50 people the next time. Like, maybe some of those rights violations get escalated, and all of a sudden there's a person getting pepper sprayed, like that, Army lieutenant. Like, maybe it's people getting dragged out of the vehicles. Maybe it's a person with dementia getting your arm broken because the shit got escalated. So I mean, you look at things like that and it's not cool. It's not right. And you have, videos of police officers laughing about it. If you're a police officer and your colleague does that, call them out. Call them out, or you're complicit in it. You're totally complicit if you're not calling it out. And if you say, well, there's situations, like, that justify some of the stuff, and I believe that. I believe that there's context out there that gets lost sometimes, even in video, that gets lost. Yes, if somebody is doing something they're not supposed to do and they're trying to resist and they're a career criminal, odds are they know how to play those context angles. I effing get it. That means you have to have integrity and accountability, like, above the average citizen, because of the power that you wield. And you knew what you're signing up for. You knew career criminals know how to do that kind of stuff. And that those are the people you should be targeting with your investigations and, just doing what you do. But not me. And not other people that are minorities or whatever, or people that are non-minorities who are just invoking their rights. Like, no, that's not the way you should do it. And no, invoking your rights is not probable cause. And probably on the matter of, like, I don't know, just being a minority, I guess, I'm mixed, and so I get a lot of stuff where it's not that I'm Asian, it's because, like, quite literally I look like a lot of different things to some people. So to an Asian person, I look like I'm mixed Asian. To an Hispanic person, I look like a mixed person, not Hispanic. But if you're not Hispanic, you're not Asian. A lot of times I'm Mexican, I'm Filipino, I'm something, to people from Indonesia, like all these things that come out. And what I found is that it's not cool, because if I'm being honest, the Asian community is not so great towards mixed people. and you say that loosely, like, so people like me, my generation, they tend to be okay, but like my mother's generation, and I find that other people that come, like, from Vietnam, like, I'm not Vietnamese, to a lot of those folks that I've talked to, I've encountered anyway, they're like, well, you're an American. I'm like, well, yes, I am, but I'm also, a Vietnamese American, and they're like, no, you're not Vietnamese. You're just American, which is usually a catch-all for, if you're not Vietnamese, you're something else, and I can't say that you're white or black, you're just an American. And so, yeah, it kind of sucks, you're not a mixed person, you can feel like you're not accepted by your own country sometimes with the way you're profiled and treated. And other times, like the folks you do try to identify with, they don't accept you either. And so, it just really kind of sucks. So this is me, Michael Lynch of Team Lynch Spirit of Adventure, just saying, hey, I just want some accountability. Yeah, this happens. Profiling happens. I'm half Asian and I get profiled for being Asian. Because I'm half Asian, I also get profiled for looking like other minorities. And no, it has not just happened over this 2-week thing in December with Officer C. Rule, or Trooper C. Rule of the Kansas State Patrol. It's happened ever since I've been in high school. Cut school one day with my friend, driving around a neighborhood in the morning, my girlfriend's neighborhood, waiting for her dad to go to work so we could have breakfast and chill out and watch TV. A person called the cops, said that I robbed their house. They had a list of items. So how would the investigation normally go when it comes to a minor being accused of something? You call a parent, right? Especially at school. Nope, I got pulled out of class. I got interrogated by 2 investigators without any parent. They said they knew I did it. Absolutely knew I did it. They're like a pit bull. Once you get teeth on something, they're going to get to it. I might as well just admit I did it. Later that day, they're at my house. They had a list from that person. They wouldn't reveal who the person was. They had a list of items, and they started pointing at things in my house, saying that these things are on the list. I had to prove that these things were not stolen. It was not innocent to proven guilty. It was some guy randomly said you stole this stuff. We believe him. Prove it to us you didn't. And I'm tired of not having accountability on this stuff, and I'm tired of me having this effed up way of thinking, this construct that it's okay. It's okay if it's not as bad as somebody else is getting. It's okay if, oh, they didn't know I was Asian, and that's the more acceptable, minority sometimes. Like, no, none of that stuff freaking matters. It shouldn't matter. It shouldn't matter that I grew up in Georgia and like, oh yeah, we grew up in Georgia. That's where all that stuff's going. It shouldn't matter where I'm at. We're all Americans here. We all need to take accountability. If you see somebody doing something that you wouldn't want done to you and yours, say something. That's all we got to do. It's all right, man. If you like this video or didn't like it, or you have thoughts about it, questions, comments, whatever, just put it in the comments. You can send me a message directly. I have my contact stuff on my channel. I'm also on Instagram. Shoot me a message there, a DM, whatever you like. We can have another video about this, talk about more stuff, different angles, whatever you want to do. But I think more of us have to keep talking about it, or else it's just going to keep going. So, till next time.